Welcome to the Comfortable in Chaos Podcast. Strangle your demons and let's go.
Y'all need Jesus!
Many years since I was here on the street, I was passing my time away. To the left and to the right, buildings towering to the sky, it's out of sight in the dead of night. Woo! Here I am and in this city, woo! With a fistful of dollars, and baby, you better believe I'm back in the New York groove, your groove. I'm back in the New York groove, your groove. I'm back in the New York groove, your groove. I'm back in the New York groove, bam, in the New York groove. Welcome to the Comfortable in Chaos Podcast. I am your host, Eric Hellberg, and you know we're like Einstein over here, man. We have no special talents. We're just passionately curious about all things pertaining to men. How in the hell did we get here, and where is it that we want to go, man? That was the lead guitarist of Kiss. When that band broke up, really they took a hiatus. They all went solo. I love them so much that when they all went solo, I bought each of their corresponding albums. And that, of course, was Back in the New York Groove. Bam! In the New York Groove by Ace Frehley, man. Dude looked like the bomb. Here we are, man. It's another day. We're living a month in a day. So where do we begin? Heritage Foundation just released a study that out of all the respondents, when they searched out people, their pollsters, people that we were pretty sure did not have legal status, and they corresponded with these illegal aliens. 10% of all the ones that they corresponded with said that they are eligible to vote. So they not only are cognizant of it, but they also have the ability. Now, I don't know the total group size of the ones that they polled, but let's see, illegal immigrants, you heard me, 10, 20, 30, 40. How many of them are there? Let's just say we have 10 million illegal immigrants, but really, let's say 30. 10%, 3 million can vote. I'll tell you what, man, we are going to be fighting over tooth and nail, even though Trump is winning by bejeebers of numbers and has total inertia and momentum. And we have a collapsed Democratic side. But they have been working on this for so very long. So 10%, according to the Heritage Foundation, very pronounced and very reputable organization, has said that they are eligible to vote. So man, oh man, that is not good. So let's find something that is good. Better yet, why don't we today, men, let's find strength in God's promise or reward to us for our perseverance in this world. Many times you can try, toil. Every so often you may have a triumph, but it is arduous. And oftentimes you were kind of doing it of your own accord. But the Lord's watching. The Lord is watching you. And according to 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 7, but as for you, be strong and do not give up, for your work will be rewarded. The Lord did not say when, but we know it is coming. He is asking us to endure, persist, keep going. There is an eternal reward greater than you can ever imagine. 2 Chronicles 15:7. Now let me hearken back to, I did an episode, maybe I began the week with it, called Betrayal. And I still had some remnants lingering around in my mind. I actually did that episode for some family members that had encountered something that was a surprise, and typically that is what a betrayal is. But yep, these gerbils in my head have kept going on this wheel. And you know what I kind of came up with? How in the world in someone's life, especially someone who particularly espouses to care for you, and oftentimes in that regard, you can take on a status of being somewhat elevated. Exalted is the wrong word, but you're lifted up both by their presence and in their deeds towards you, and certainly their words. But then maybe over time, or maybe something acute happens, and you go from hero to zero. All I can say is that if you have ever found yourself going from a point of someone's hero to now being their zero, well, then that relationship could only be predicated on one thing. And that condition solely is that you provided. That relationship was based upon you constantly giving and or providing something or things. And when the hero can no longer do that, they are relegated to zero. And I will tell you, if love is involved in that relationship, that has not one iota of anything to do with love. And before we get out of the sappiness of feelings and move about the world, let me add further fuel to the fire. If you ask typically anyone, what do they love about their partner, their boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, even child? They may be able to, some people will help. Some people maybe just sit there stymied, thinking, they're in trouble. Or some people may very loquaciously rattle it off. And they can burst out, 7, 8 things pretty quick. But did you know that is not that person? Those are just things about that person that you happen to approve of and or enjoy. That is not that person. Moreover, anything that a person can provide or give is still not who that person is or who they are. It has nothing to do with it. So if you are chasing true love, and ultimately if that is the case, that equates to a marriage and a lifelong relationship, simply be in love with the idea of being married, and simply be in love with the idea that you get to spend the rest of your life, come what may. That's what those vows are for. Come what may in the course of that lifetime relationship, up until when death does one of you, makes you part, right? Till death do us part. You will encounter all kinds of things in life as that marriage or that relationship endures and goes forward. But it has not one thing to do with what that person provides. You love the idea of that covenant, and you love the idea of spending the rest of your life with the person that you chose, yes, because of some of those attributes. But the fact that you get to go through that duration with that person. There is no higher calling than that. So tie that back into the episode on betrayal, and you will get further understanding. All right, with that, so let's get on our game, man. We know that our boy Trump is getting on his game, and we know his VP pick is coming up. I've heard that he will be announcing it on July 18th at the Republican National Convention, or sometime right therein. And that will be crucial, most definitely. I've heard him banter about Justice Thomas. Yeah, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. And you know what? It's about time. I think he's tired of that lifelong appointment on that bench. He's constantly going through hell. They're trying to resurrect all kinds of bullshit stuff towards him. And the interesting thing is, you would think that Clarence Thomas, as a black man or an African-American man, I was just talking to someone from South Africa earlier this morning. We had a long conversation. She said, we are Afrikaans. black people in America, unless they have recently come from Africa and still have those ways, meaning they were born there, they are not Afrikaans. They're American. So if that's the case, which I believe it is, I'll just simply say black. And I believe that Clarence Thomas would also call himself a black man, just like he would call me a white man and someone could call me a cracker. I could care less. Let's crumble that thing right here in our hand. But the interesting thing is they're going to label Clarence Thomas an Uncle Tom. He's an Uncle Tom. Why? He has a mind of his own. He's articulate. He is a scholar. He makes more conservative rulings. And go back to the day when they just excoriated him over time, tried to humiliate him, defame him, degrade him. He was appointed anyways, and he's done a hellified job. And now they're realizing, hey, we got to scratch the surface, find some chinks in old Clarence Thomas's armor. He's probably tired of it. Why does a man need to go through that? So if Trump actually does that, maybe he will agree. Time will tell. But those same damn Democrats today who are crying racism and black this and white this and let's paint the color on this and let's give it this are the same ones, despite the fact that they say they are not racially represented, are the ones that tried to keep Clarence Thomas, the black man, from ever getting on the Supreme Court to begin with. It's hypocrisy at its best. And really what I equate that to now that I've developed this and started thinking about it more and more, and I look at America's power, and I'm starting to think that our road to power was paved with hypocrisy and, of course, just as many casualties to go along with it, right? We go to plunder, plunder, plunder. American lives at home do not get better. And we just continue on, and the model just goes round and round, just like those gerbils on the wheel in my head. Meantime, they're trying to perfect President Biden's walking form instead of in his demented gait. And I think there's something musculoskeletal, maybe neural-centric, kind of degenerative along with that dementia. I'm actually trying to walk that way right now while I'm doing the show with you. That's what they're working on with our president. And the president that was issued an ICC, meaning the International Criminal Court arrest warrant, meaning President Putin is going all over the world. He's back in India today. In fact, I'm looking at a photograph of him and Modi. They're in a long embrace and a hug. Yep. Cheek to cheek, talking to one another. Both men look very sincere. Of course, what do we have? 1.3 billion people in India. Who does India buy all of its oil from? Russia. This Ukraine debacle has made them richer than ever. Hey, so much for sanctions, right? But yeah, he has an arrest warrant issued against him. That's been out for some time. Yeah, why don't you go transact that? Let me know when that happens. We've got Joe Biden. They're feeding him, they keep the bib on him. They teach him how to move, how to speak, what. And this guy with an arrest warrant against him in the International Criminal Court, he's just making the rounds. He's gone all throughout Eurasia, shoring up his partnerships and getting everything in order. I tell you, he's doing that. The world's ablaze. And what's our military doing? Of course, I'm starting to believe that warmongering only benefits the billionaire class, to be honest with you. That's who it benefits. I mean, you've already heard Trump say he really didn't have to speak in that debate, but he says, hey, before I take office, after I'm elected, before the inauguration, the Russian-Ukraine war will be over. Do you honestly think, after everything I've reported to you on this show, that Lockheed Martin, with all of its booked contracts, an increase in market capitalization wants that war to conclude? They would love for it to be like Afghanistan and run into perpetuity. They don't give one flying how many people die over in that meat grinder. Do you think that BlackRock, who immediately after the special military operation was launched by Putin, went over there with the actor, Volodymyr Zelensky, sat down, and they devised up a plan whereby they could then divvy up Ukraine's resources and anything that needed to be rebuilt, although a conflict had just begun, would fall under the auspices of BlackRock's protection. Do you think that they would like for that conflict to end? You know, we're fighting in Syria right now. I'll do an episode. We're actually stealing the people of Syria's oil right now, the United States military. We never got a drop of it in Iraq, but for some reason, we are taking it from a decimated people, removing one of their premier resources in our own military vehicles. Did you know we're doing it with their wheat as well? So we don't mind if those people end up famished either. What is that word that they use? Food scarcity. Yeah, food scarcity. Meanwhile, we have veterans living under bridges here in America. Go to California and you will have tent cities and homeless encampments that are bigger than, I don't know, most of the mid-sized towns in the rest of America. But that is going on over there. It's making me start to wonder. So yeah, in the meantime, we have people shoring up partnerships, dissing us, diminishing our power. And I'm reading a report right here from the U.S. Naval Institute. They released it 12 hours ago. 2 of our carriers right now, the carrier Washington and Stennis, are grounded. Not grounded per se, but they are moored. And I'm looking at the Washington right now with 2 huge tugs, one on each side, and holding it in place. All the sailors are topside, but evidently they have unknown turbine damage. They can't even function. And then I came across a report from an independent journalist who posts on Twitter all the time. Her name is Rebecca Chan. And she said that last year, in 2023, I'll read it, sailors aboard the George Washington endured some of the toughest living conditions of any members in the military, according to a 2023 naval investigation following the proliferation of deaths by suicide of multiple sailors assigned to the carrier. What in God's green earth is going on? Maybe we need to stop rattling our saber and put it back in our scabbard. But Lockheed Martin and BlackRock don't want President Trump to win. They want Biden and his like to win. People do not want that to happen. It's kind of like this. Here we go. And I mean, you've been listening to my recent episodes of the last couple of weeks. So we could just say, hey, get ready to cheer. Y'all cheer with me, okay? Here we go. I'm going to say it over and over. So who blankets the world with military bases? We do. Okay. Who stirs up political conflicts worldwide? We do. Are y'all with me? Who refuses to ratify more than 40 treaties worldwide? We do. Who do we pretend is the cause of worldwide troubles? Don't answer on that one. For now, China. Okay, we're with China. We're not with China. Go away with China. It's all the same. Okay, so we're right there. Meanwhile, you know, we've kind of got a 3-horse race in the effort to become, I believe, France is one of those few countries they have both a president, that would be good old Macron. That's our old version of Slick Willie and tight jeans and what would we call those? Patent leather loafers. He looks good. He really does. Actually, I think he's an ugly man. He always wears that dark suit, the skinny tie. So Macron, you know, he's been saying, man, we're going to be sending some people in Ukraine. We're going to tear some shit up. We're after Putin, and I'm going to send... And I've already exposed the fact he has 2,400 readily available infantry-type forces who can go into the meat grinder and get killed themselves. Of course, they have actually had people on the ground, many of who have died since the beginning of that special military operation. And, of course, they have some of the French brass over there. And if you don't think that the French are some unsavory, salacious mofos, just listen to my Colonel Gaddafi episodes. I mean, Gaddafi was put down. The country was left in ruins because of French design, and they're part of NATO, so we had to jump into the fray. But you know, on one hand, all running, I think they have a guy by the name of, excuse me, is it Volta? He's a younger guy. Then they have Mélenchon. I like him. And then, of course, they have Marie Le Pen. And evidently in her efforts to become prime minister, you know, they have become basically a Muslim country. Paris is the, what would we call that? The damn Aleppo of the Romance cities now. And A Muslim group wanted to meet with her, but they said, Marie Le Pen, if you come over here, you've got to put a headscarf on. She's like, bullshit, I ain't doing shit with y'all. I'll come and meet with you, but you're damn sure, one, you're coming to me, and I won't be wearing a headscarf. That's your way, and we were wrong for letting you in. If I was in this position before, it wouldn't have happened. Good for her. Good for you, Marie Le Pen. But recently, Mélenchon has been gaining traction. And you know what he said? Now he has completely reversed the course of Macron. We're not sending one damn person over there. They're going to get killed. They're going to get slaughtered. We have no business over there. You think that we can go into a country, what does Russia have, 6 or 7 time zones? A country that chewed up Napoleon like a damn dog on a piece of gristle, chewed up Hitler like a damn dog on a piece of gristle, and you think you're going into Russia to defeat them? Are you out of your friggin' minds? And in the meantime, what the hell's happening here? Financial scarcity other than the ones that bankroll off of this conflict and trouble. 2.5 years ago, you bought you a basket of groceries, maybe not full, for $150, $175. That same basket costs you over $400 now. So what does that mean? Mommy doesn't get to be with daddy, daddy doesn't get to be with mommy, and neither of them get to be with the kids. They're both working. Kids are left to their own device. They may get off work and hurry to some event or something. There is such limited interaction between purported family units and those who are supposed to love one another in an average American household. It is appalling. Meanwhile, all around the rest of the world, they still seem to kind of be a little bit more cohesive as a family unit. But we're working it for the man, and we're not getting anywhere. Only these people are. It is tragic. It needs to change, and we need to be aware of it. So for the interest of time, and we will pick up where we left off, we have so much on our minds, so much to do, and it is by design, but we can do better. Remember, your efforts will be rewarded. Look up. Take in the Lord God above. Look within yourself. And let's keep plodding along. I will be right there with you, and we began with Ace Frehley. So why don't we just have Ace take us out? You ready? In the back of my Cadillac, a wicked lady sitting by my side saying, where are we? I stopped at 3rd and 43, exit to the night, it's gonna be ecstasy. This place was meant for me. Woo! I feel so good tonight. Woo! Who cares about tomorrow? So baby, you better believe that's how we're living, man. Let's get it right. So until next time on the Comfortable in Chaos podcast, I bid you bon voyage, my burgeoning flock.